Imagine sitting down at a five-star restaurant. You order the French fries, but instead of a finished meal, the waiter walks over and hands you a raw, dirty potato. That exact experience happens in corporate boardrooms every single day. Today, we are exploring Chapter 12 of Sriram Gopalan's book, Bridge the Gap, to see how data engineering solves this exact problem. In its natural habitat, your company's data lives in dozens of disconnected places: sales logs in a Postgres database, marketing metrics trapped in Salesforce, and payment records over in Stripe. It is scattered, messy, and formatted completely differently. If you try to read that information directly, your executive dashboards will look like gibberish. Without context or standardization, you end up making strategic decisions completely blind. Before any leader can extract actual value from their software tools, that raw data has to be systematically gathered, cleaned, and cooked into a safe, consumable format. Engineers handle this cooking process using a system called ETL, which stands for extract, transform, and load. It is the backbone of every reporting team. The extract phase harvests raw data from separate, disconnected systems. Next, the data moves into the transform step, where the system washes off duplicate records and standardizes currency. Finally, the cooked data flows to the load stage, pushing clean information into a data warehouse. Because of this invisible engine, a CEO can pull up a clean chart showing profit per region without having to look at the underlying chaos. Running that process once is straightforward. The massive engineering challenge is doing it automatically, every single hour, pulling from 50 different sources without breaking. To scale the process, engineers build a data pipeline. It replaces manual data pulls with an automated industrial assembly line that runs 24/7. This schematic maps out the pipeline safety mechanism, a directed acyclic graph, or DAG. It forces every task to move strictly forward. If an API goes down, it halts gracefully, blocks the bowed data, and sends a Slack alert directly to the engineering team. Without strict, automated checkpoints, a pipeline is a fragile script waiting to break your company's reporting. Historically, the transform part of ETL created a bottleneck. The intermediate server trying to clean the data was too slow to handle massive datasets. This animated comparison illustrates the modern solution. On the left, traditional ETL cleans the data before storing it. On the right, the new standard shifts the order to ELT: extract, load, then transform. By dumping raw data directly into the cloud data warehouse first, engineers use the warehouse's massive, scalable computing power to clean it blazingly fast. Rearranging those letters represents an architectural shift. It leverages cloud computing to process information faster, and it costs the business significantly less. The invisible machinery transporting your data requires as much scrutiny as the numbers sitting on your dashboard. You need to ask your team about schema validation. If a marketing app upstream suddenly changes a date format, you need to know your pipeline will catch the error instead of silently corrupting your reports. You also need to ask about data lineage. If the executive dashboard shows a profit number that looks wrong, your team must be able to trace it backward to the exact raw transaction. And you should verify if your engineers have modernized to an ELT framework. If they haven't, you might be overpaying for slow, outdated infrastructure. When you understand the engineering logic beneath the surface, you no longer have to tolerate unexplained dashboard errors. You can hold the system accountable. If you want to keep bridging the gap between business and engineering, make sure to hit that subscribe button to catch our next episode of The Explainer. See you next time.